Gentlemen, look at that. It's time for another Captain's Quarters podcast. Cheers to you, Navigator Longwood and Gunner Henley. Good to see you two both here. And
good to see you, Captain.
It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day is not always the best way to say it. I think respected Memorial Day is a good way to have a greeting for today. And today we will be talking about the history of Memorial Day. But as always, a good shot of rum out of my very special birthday gift that was given to me by Navigator Longwood. The skull in the middle there, it's kind of a cool thing, and I'm drinking Sailor Jerry's out of it still. When the Sailor Jerry's is gone, we'll find another one to put in it. I see we have Mr. Adam and Zachary Harker on board. Very good. Peace and blessings to all who have lost a loved one in the service to this country. Yes, sir, that is a good greeting, and it is the way we will talk about things tonight. But let's talk about a few other things. The first thing, if you like our podcast, we'd love for you to go to our YouTube channel and like and hit that bell to get your warnings and subscribe to us. Subscribing is one of those things that's very important for us because it lets us know and it lets YouTube know that we're doing a good job and we're important and that you will stay with us and be with us along the way. So do go and like and subscribe. A few more people have just popped in. Nightingale in Florida and Miss Cara Crema. Very good. And there's Miss Donna Bogus. Very, very good. So let's do our quote of the week, Mr. Longwood.
Question?
Okay, question. We'll do the question. That's fine. Hi. Fondest or favorite summer memory? You know, Memorial Day is usually always the kickoff to the summer for just about everybody. School is out or beginning to be out, and the summer is dead ahead of us. So somewhere along the line, we'll be talking about our most fondest favorite memories of summer. If you want to throw those in, we will catch those towards the end of the show. So don't forget, fondest or favorite memory of your summer, of your past. How about that quote of the week, Mr. Longwood? A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. That's a very good quote and very appropriate for our Memorial Day episode. We thank you very much for that, Mr. Longwood. A good quote. You're doing very well on these quotes. I'm glad I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's what the Navigator is all about. So let's see. How about crew adventure? Get that out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, our crew social and recruitment is in July. If you're interested in being a part of our crew, even long distance, please send us a message and let us know if we can get you into the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. Still working on some ideas for the St. Augustine Rum Fest. Not sure what we're going to do. And June 11th, CASE event for Inc. And ladies and gentlemen, CASE stands for Community Appreciation for School Employees. It's something they've decided to start doing this year. And the St. Augustine Swashbucklers have been asked to do a few games and make a presence there. It's from 4 to 8 o'clock in the evening on June 11th, which is a Saturday. And I'm hoping most of the crew will join me when we do that event. Of course, our December and October events, the Christmas Village and the Halloween Village, they are on the calendar. And as always, every Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, Captain's Quarters Podcast, and we'd like to have you here. Now, I do want to let you know, this is the last Captain's Quarters Podcast in this location. The captain and his wife, Miss Cece, we've had to be put in a position to leave this house after almost 16 years and move to another location. We spent the last week and a half moving, and boy, I got to tell you, I hate moving. But we've been working on it, and it wouldn't have been as easy if I didn't have the help of many of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers and my crew. I tell you what, it's been a big help to have them help with a few loads here and there along the way. We do one major big load tomorrow, and we start living in the new house tomorrow night. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time for this location. We will be showing you the new Captain's Quarters Podcast Studio on June the 13th. Oh, what's that you say? What about June 6th? Well, June 6th, we're going to do a pre-recorded show just for you. All about, what do you think? June the 6th, D-Day, World War II. We're going to do a pre-recorded. Mr. Longwood normally does our This Week in History, and it's usually only 3 or 4 minutes, but he's working on something a bit more spectacular that'll take up about 35 or 40 minutes, we hope. I'll do a intro and a welcome and a celebration of the ideas and history of D-Day and World War II, and you can tune into it whenever you like. Then on June 13th, we will be in the new, hopefully, the new Captain's Quarters Podcast. I'm looking forward to showing it off, every bit of it, and my new pirate room. So, look forward to that on June 13th. On that note, I can't think of anything else that we have to cover that we normally cover at the first part of our show every time. Mr. Hellfire, have I missed anything?
Nope, Captain. I think you're right on schedule.
Very good, very good. And Navigator Longwood, you're the one that keeps us on the straight and narrow. Are we doing well so far?
Yes, Captain.
All right. I see that Christy has come in too. Hello, Christy Thomas. It's great to see you. I do want to say one other thing to Christy and to Adam. We have Captain Mayhem did a very special birthday party today for a grandson who's visiting here in St. Augustine but lives in Tampa, and his parents, his mom and dad, might be interested in joining our crew, and they're in your area. I will probably give them some information about where you're playing, and maybe you can meet up with them or they can meet up with you. We're always looking for new members. I'm hoping to get them over. Their grandfather is the one that set up the whole thing. Here's what it was. The young boy had to come to St. Augustine and do a scavenger hunt and hunt for the 8 rings of the Pirate Kings. And he found them following the clues. And all the clues gave him 1 letter per clue. And they had a Da Vinci code box. It was really cool. When he put all the letters in, the code box opened and the 8 rings were there. Those 8 rings were to come and show me at the Pirate Museum. They had proof that they were the Pirate Kings now, and that I had a very special dragon egg that had been entrusted to me to pass on to the 8 kings of the pirate world. They earned their time, and I gave them their dinosaur dragon egg. So, ladies and gentlemen, which was a fun time, and we made new friends for it. So they're interested in what we do as the Swashbucklers and what Captain Mayhem does. So we may have bringing in some extra help. It was a lot of fun and gave me some more ideas on things that we could do as pirates and a crew. Plus, I've also been asked to do a couple of wedding takeovers. Those are always fun, aren't they, Mr. Longwood?
Aye, Captain.
Very good. So Let's see. Let's do a couple of the answers to the questions first before we go into my favorite summer memory. Swimming pool. I lived in the pool every summer. So in other words, Miss Christie, you're telling us that you are part mermaid. That is a good thing. And let's see. My summer with grandparents will always be my favorite. You know what? There are no memories that you can take from anybody that does not include your grandparents. Grandparents are like the staple of good memories for all of our childhoods, mine included, as well as everybody else's. I do have to tell you, now that I'm a granddad, I like to try to figure out how to give some of those memories to my little ones. Nightingale in Florida says, my favorite memory of summer is times with my family at the beach right here in St. Augustine. Well, where else can you go but to have a good beach in St. Augustine, Florida? Those are three great memories. We love that. We thank you, Nightingale in Florida, for giving us a thumbs up there on the beautiful quote. It was indeed that. Now, Miss Christie says that she may have some mermaid blood in her after all. I'm quite sure she does. Very good. So, our whole episode tonight, everything about what we're going to do, is about the history of Memorial Day. Now, before we start it off, I want to say this. Sometimes people get things mistaken. Memorial Day is the day that we honor those who gave all so that the freedom and the ways of this country can continue. That's what Memorial Day is. Memorial Day is not the day that you go and thank veterans for their service. Some people do, but that's not what we're here. Not what the day is for. Memorial Day is to celebrate and honor those men, those women in all branches of the service that have given their lives to the protection and the sovereignty of the United States of America. It's very important that we keep that separate from Veterans Day. Veterans Day is the day that we actually honor all the veterans, the living ones, and sometimes the ones that have passed, for their service to the country. There is also many other days to honor the memory of military people, but there are just as many days to honor the existence of those that are still alive. Some still active duty, some retired, and many of you may not know, but those of us that are retired, in certain circumstances, can be recalled to duty to the United States of America. So we must make sure that we honor them properly on Veterans Day, but not on Memorial Day. It is two separate days, two separate honors, and it's always best to keep those separate. That is the way it was set up. It's not an insult to tell a veteran, thank you for your service on this day, but a veteran always will tell you, please honor and a prayer for my brothers and sisters that I lost during any turmoil or conquest that I was a part of. So please do always keep that in mind. There is even Military Spouse Appreciation Day, Military Family Appreciation Day. All of those days are set aside to appreciate those families and those spouses and those children that are still part of the active living world today. But today is for the memory of those brothers and sisters that we've lost over the time that we've had things that have happened to this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I was in the military for 15 years. I had some pretty interesting assignments. I don't talk about them very often, and I choose to leave it that way. But I do have some brothers in arms that I have lost in some of those assignments. Today is my day to say cheers to them, and I miss them and honor them. I hope that you understand what I've just said. Cheers to all. Huzzah to my fallen brothers. Mr. Longwood, I believe you have a video that will kick off our talk of history of Memorial Day. If you do, please go ahead and start it. Now, I'm going to admit one thing. Still to this day, I can't listen to that song without a break in my voice and tears in my eyes. My mother was the same way. And there are only 3 songs that do that to me. That song, by the way, is known as Taps. The other 2 songs that do that to me are Amazing Grace and the Battle Hymn of the Republic. There are no other songs that cause me to have a break in my voice and a tear in my eye, because all 3 of those songs truly do deal with our faith, our freedom, and our life. Mr. Longwood, that was a very, very good video, and I thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, Captain.
So let's talk about the history of Memorial Day. Just so happens that I have let me see if I can put it over on my other screen so it's easier for me to read. And I apologize, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have to have my specs now. Oh, look, I even look better with my specs on. Ladies and gentlemen, the forgotten history of Memorial Day grew up in the aftermath of the Civil War. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the aftermath of the Civil War. And was not started by the North. Memorial Day was started by the South. The holiday was a Memorial Day, an annual commemoration. Was born in the former Confederate States in 1866. It was adopted by the United States in 1868. It is a holiday in which the nation honors its military dead. General John A. Logan, who headed the largest Union veterans fraternity at the time, the Grand Army of the Republic, is usually credited as being the originator of the holiday. Yet, when General Logan established the holiday, he acknowledged the genius, or the genesis, my apologies, the genesis among the Union former enemies, saying it was not too late for the Union men of the nation to follow the example of the people of the South. And that was to honor all. During 1866, the first year of this annual observance in the South, a feature of the holiday emerged that made our awareness, admiration, and eventually initiation of it spread quickly to the North. During the inaugural Memorial Day observance, which were conceived in Columbus, Georgia, many Southern participants, especially women, decorated graves of Confederate soldiers, as well as unexpectedly those of their former enemies who fought for the Union. The action of the ladies on this occasion in burying whatever animosities or ill feeling might have been engendered in the late war towards those who fought against them is worthy of all praise and commendation, wrote the general. On May 9th, 1866, the Cleveland Daily Leader, that was a newspaper back then, lauded the Southern women during their first Memorial Day. This act was as beautiful as it was unselfish and will be appreciated in the North. Ladies and gentlemen, Memorial Day came from the North and the South, having the ideas of forgiveness and to move forward. There is also another story that many of the freed slaves who had went to the North to help fight in the Northern Union Army, they participated greatly and made sure that some of the grounds in Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia were consecrated grounds that would accept both the men of the North and the men of the South, sometimes both sides buried in the same cemetery. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a powerful thought and a powerful way to understand what Memorial Day truly, really is. It is a time to honor those men and women who sacrifice their all for the good of what they believe in. Right or wrong, it's the good of what they believe in. And to come after the fact and, so to speak, bury the hatchet is a good thing, and that's what it is. There is a reference to that term, bury the hatchet. Bury the hatchet means to remove all animosity and to continue on. If this message actually, and I don't mean to make this any kind of a preaching to the world today, but if this message of what Memorial Day actually started as and what truly meant in the beginning, some of the animosity that we have in the world today could be very well ended if people would open their minds and their hearts to the understanding of this. It seems to me that the most part, it's the military people that understand this. We battle, we fight. There's a winner and a loser. But when it's all over, you can lay your differences aside. Abraham Lincoln wanted to bring unity to the country, but he died before this all happened. He was assassinated. But his wishes came true when they decided to do exactly what I've told you right here. Memorial for all those men, both sides. Wrong or right, it is important to understand. We have soldiers from the Vietnam War, Spanish-American War, the Civil War, Afghanistanian War, all the European conflicts that some of my friends have been a part of, and many others. They've died for what they believe in, and this is a way to memorialize them. I say cheers to them and honor their memory. This morning on my way to work, I listened to the events going on in Jacksonville, where several of the members of the military who were citizens of Jacksonville had passed away due to their choice to be a part of the United States military. And their moms and dads were given opportunity to speak, and I listened to it on the radio this morning for about 40 minutes before work. Those parents were so proud of their children, and we should be proud of our military. The Navy, the Army, the Marines, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, and now, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Space Force, and even Merchant Marines. We must honor them all. So now, I'll jump down off my soapbox for just a few moments. Are there any questions or anybody else that wants to say anything? I see some great comments coming in. Nightingale in Florida, to our husbands, wives, daughters, sons, mothers, and fathers who gave their all. She salutes them. In our family, the Green Parade brings a tear to our eye, and we always stand when we hear taps. There are some interesting things. There was a poem written. See if I can bring it up so I can read it. There it is right there. This poem that was written was called The Blue and the Gray, and it was written in 1827 by Francis Miles Finch. Let's see if I can make it so I can read it. By the flow of the inland river, whence the fleets of iron have fled, where the blades of grave grass quiver, asleep are the ranks of the dead. Under the sun and the dew, waiting the judgment day, under the one the blue, under the gray. These in the robbings of glory, those in the gloom of defeat, all with the battle blood gory, in the dust of the eternal meat. Under the sod and the dew, waiting the judgment day, under the laurel the blue, under the willow the gray. From the silence of sorrowful hours, the desolate mourners go, lovingly ladies with flowers, alike for their friend and the foe. Under the sod and the dew, waiting for the judgment day, under the roses the blue, under the lilies the gray. So with equal splendor, the morning sun rays fall, with a touch impartially tender on the blossoms blooming for all, under the sod and the dew, waiting the judgment day, broidered with the gold the blue, mellowed with the gold the gray. So when the summer calleth on forest and field of grain, with an equal murmur falleth the cooling drip of the rain, under the sod and the dew, waiting for the judgment day, wet with the rain the blue, also wet with the rain the gray. Great piece of poetry. It was used over and over and over again for many years in a row to commemorate the start of Memorial Day. I think it's a good one, written by Francis Miles French. Miss Kramer reads, I remember my poor dad having terrible nightmares about the war. He was in World War II. He was an army on foot. He would never say anything bad about his time served. I too have a father that served in the Vietnam War. He will never talk about it. I'm sure many of you have. We don't expect them to talk about it. But Memorial Day is a very important day for us to honor those that have given. Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, let me look back and see what else I have here. Again, the glasses. Mr. Longwood, do you have anything else to add while I'm looking?
I do while you're looking it up, as a matter of fact, Captain.
Please do, sir. Please do.
Thank you.
And Mr. Henley, if you have anything, do speak up.
The final Monday in May is Memorial Day. It is a day to honor soldiers who died in war while serving in the United States military. Before it had the name we know today, Memorial Day was first known as Decoration Day. After the Civil War, people decorated soldiers' graves with flowers and flags so that they would not be forgotten. Civil War General John Logan issued an order. Decorating the graves was so important, he declared Decoration Day should be celebrated every spring. The first official Decoration Day took place at Arlington National Cemetery on May 30th, 1868. There, 5,000 people gathered to decorate the gravestones of 20,000 Union and Confederate Civil War soldiers. After World War II, Decoration Day became known as Memorial Day, and in 1971 became a federal holiday. Each Memorial Day at 3 p.m., citizens are asked to observe a national moment of remembrance, a time of silent reflection to pay tribute to those men and women who have died fighting for the freedoms that Americans enjoy. Today, many people still decorate graves of fallen soldiers. Some also have family gatherings and watch parades. Who do you honor on Memorial Day?
There you go, Captain.
Very good. Very good. Today there was a memorial parade in Palatka. The St. Augustine swashbucklers were asked to join the Seawolves, but were unable to attend. I hope that they had a successful day in their parade, honoring those that Palatka chose to honor. I want to say one more thing back to President Lincoln. Although not known by many today, the early evolution of Memorial Day holiday was a manifestation of Lincoln's hope for reconciliation between the North and the South. Lincoln's wish was there would be malice toward none and charity for all. And this was visible in the magnanimous actions of participants on both sides who extended an olive branch during Memorial Day observances in those first 3 years. There's a lesson to be learned here, ladies and gentlemen. Once history becomes history, we should learn from it and not fight over it. But that might be just me. Let's see what else I have here. Ladies and gentlemen, all of this that was covered in 1868 was covered by newspapers all over the United States. And if I bring up this other website, ladies and gentlemen, we try to share the websites that we use for these, and I am using the website on the History Channel. Mr. Longwood, I believe I sent you that link. Can you post it for people so they might copy it down and use it for their own use down the road? That's Mother's Day.
It's still a History Channel.
All right. Let's use this one here. Right here. I got several screens going at the same time. How about that? I told you a bit of the story. Let's see if I can find it in this one here. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not be shy about signing in and spouting off, because Memorial Day, as you can tell, is very important to me. Extremely important. 9 things you may not know about Memorial Day. Number 1, Memorial Day and its transitions may actually have ancient roots in Greek mythology. Even the Greeks, after battle, Pericles and the Peloponnesian Wars, after battle, their enemies would decorate their graves of their fallen comrades. I'm trying to find the one that I told you about. General Logan, who started all this, was the commander-in-chief of the Union Veterans Group known as the Grand Army of the Republic. He issued a decree that May 30th should become known as the nationwide day of commemoration for more than 620,000 soldiers killed in the recently ended Civil War. The reason he chose May 30th, there were no Civil War battles fought in the entire war on May 30th. So many other battles had dates already attached to them, and May 30th was one of the dates that had no Civil War battles. According to legend, May 30th, because it was a rare day that didn't fall on the anniversary of any Civil War battle, though some historians believe that date was selected to ensure that flowers across the country would be in full bloom. There's always an afterthought. Let's see. It didn't become a federal holiday until 1971, ladies and gentlemen. There are more than 20 towns that claim to be the birthplace of this time frame, but only one gets it. Wearing a red poppy on Memorial Day began with World War I poem written by John McCrae, believe it or not. That's an interesting point. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Although he spells it differently, McCrae. Memorial Day traditions have evolved over the years, from the American flag being flown at half-staff, to parades, to commencements and speeches. I am wonderfully okay with speeches made for Memorial Day by normal, everyday people. I personally do not want to hear any speeches from politicians on this day. But that's just me. Any questions or any thoughts by anybody? Have I become too politically aware all of a sudden because my comments have seemed to have slowed down all of a sudden? Mr. Henley, what do you think? Is everybody
personally when you mentioned that you don't want to hear any speeches from politicians on this day, I don't know about you, but not to get too political, I don't ever want to hear speeches by politicians. That's just me.
I believe that there are certain things about being a politician, especially the commander-in-chief, that's very important. But we'll leave it as that. Thank you for putting the historychannel.com on there for people to go and look at. It's an interesting time, ladies and gentlemen. What makes Memorial Day so interesting and I say historically interesting, is it came from the seeds of stress and strife and a country torn apart by the opinions and the thoughts of politicians. And many men jumped to the service of their ideals. I'm related to Robert E. Lee. Services held at Arlington Cemetery would never have been held today if it were not for General Robert E. Lee, who lost all of his property, that of Arlington Cemetery. It was his plantation, but he lost it. It was all taken away from him because he became a traitor. But after the war was over, one of his younger relatives, a grandson or a nephew, I do not recall which, pleaded as a lawyer to have his property restored to him. It was restored to him, and then he turned around and gave it, donated it back to the United States of America to create Arlington Cemetery. And as you heard in one of the other posts that Mr. Longwood put out, that the first ones buried there were Civil War soldiers from both sides. 20,000 of them. So from the bad always comes good, and we do need to pay attention to that. From the bad comes good. Memorial Day is a very important day. I have relatives that I have lost because of their military commitment, but I'm lucky that my father is still with us, and I'm still here. So you can honor us on Veterans Day. What else do we have coming in? Mr. Harper says they're just listening with intent. Nightingale in Florida says we need an Abraham Lincoln today. Why, that I could not agree with you more. We do need a politician, a man or woman that could unite this country in the throes of agony that it's been in for the last many years. Mr. Longwood, do we have anything else that we can throw up there? I will apologize to my listeners and to anybody that listens to this afterwards. I have been so busy with moving my home that my research has been faulty this week. If it was not for the good work of Mr. Navigator Davey Longwood, we might not have had a show tonight. It's good to have a crew member that watches your back. A good captain is always only as good as the crew behind him, and I thank Mr. Longwood for all his work, and I thank Mr. Henley for him being here and being on the show. He could be off doing other things too, although I don't know what.
Thank you, Captain.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Of all the presidents of the United States, the number one president of the United States is always a toss-up between George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I've been lucky, though. In my life, I have met Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Bush Sr. I think that's all of them. So, any more favorite memories of summer before I bring this show down too low that we can't pick up from? More favorite summertime. Don't leave me hanging. History is very important, ladies and gentlemen. I talk about it all the time. Primarily pirate history, but I also talk about manners. And manners are very important. Respect is extremely important. Yes, we could all learn from the history that we have in our past. Even if it's bad, we can't go back and change it. And since we're talking about Memorial Day and the loss of some of our loved ones, sometimes we think, gosh, I wish I could go back and fix it so they would not be lost. But let me give you this analogy. We can't go back in time. I just listened to Ricky Gervais' recent comedy show on Netflix last night, and he talks about going back in history. And I fully agree with him because he says that every time somebody is asked if they could go back in history, what thing would they go back and change? He said so many people say they'd go back and remove Hitler from the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't go back. Think about it this way, and this is my analogy of it. I've watched many stars, celebrities, that on the interview seat are always asked the same question. If you could go back in time and change one thing about your life, what would you change to make it better? The answer to that question should always be, I cannot go back in time and change anything. For if I did, we would not even be sitting here having this conversation. Good or bad, you have to live with what we have, and you have to make it work. Do I have regrets in my past life? Most assuredly. If I went back and fixed them, would it fix my life now? Would I have the friends that I have here on the screen, both in the audience and on my team here, Mr. Longwood and Mr. Henley? Would I have them now if I went back and changed something? I would not. Would I have those same privileges and joys and memory if I went back and fixed it so some of my relatives that I lost in conflicts in my lifetime and before, if I changed that, would I still have the same life? Would it be better or would it be worse? Ladies and gentlemen, are you willing to take that chance? That's why we use our heart to enjoy what we're doing and memorialize those people that have given so that we can have this. That's another reason why Memorial Day is so important. I'm told to quit picking on Mason. All right, I will try. I love playing with all the neighborhood kids. Best time ever. Ollie Ollie Oxen 3. Yes. We should not bury history. Should not rewrite it. We should learn from it. Yes, Mason could be eating Twinkies. As long as they're deep fried, that's all right with me. How many of you remember that there was a signal that told you when it was time to come in? I bet Donna can tell me what that signal was. What was the signal that told you it was time to go into the house and not be outside anymore? Can anybody tell me?
Porch light.
Porch light, street light, or the whistle of mom and dad? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed my climbing on the soapbox and expressing to you my feelings of Memorial Day. I hope that on Memorial Day, the U.S. flag should be flown at half-mast from dawn until noon only. From noon till dusk, it should be flown at full mast. Well, I've seen quite a few people around town flying their flags wrongly. Maybe it's time for us to start educating people. Memorial Day means something to me. If I climbed on my soapbox and offended anybody tonight, my apologies. But hopefully, it has the same meaning for you. We honor our family, we honor our loved ones, because they gave so we could have. Some gave some, but some gave all. It's very important to remember. And on Veterans Day, when that happens, by all means, tell me thank you. But for now, we remember our fallen comrades because they gave the utmost. Streetlights come on, yes. Wolf whistle from mom, yes. Streetlights, Mr. Harker, Mr. Bogus, Miss Bogus. Streetlights, Nightingale in Florida, wolf whistle. See, we all grew up in the same time frame. It is now time for us to say a little bit more about our show.
No,
Because
this
at that point, What's that, Mr.
This week in
Longwood?
history.
Give us the week in history. Let's go ahead and do that. Well, Nightingale in Florida, that's something I was not aware of. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake on this day. She gave her all for France. Yes, she did. Very good. I was not aware of that. I will now remember that very much. Inquisitor Nocturne. Ahoy there. Well, it's nice that you've joined us. Do we have any other comments from anybody else in our audience today? Our time on earth is fleeting and only bearable as we look towards our eternal promises. Yes, you're absolutely right. What makes life special is the friends that we have within our life. Those that we trust, those that we admire, and those that step up. But for now, we're reaching the point that we should talk about a couple of other things. For example, let's thank our show sponsors, Mr. Longwood. There is Ancient City Sirens, wonderful group of dance girls led by Miss Gina Marie. Dick's Wings, if you haven't had anything there lately, get on down there and eat some Dick's Wings because, well, they're just good. Paper and Strings, our favorite musical duo, Mr. Adam and Miss Christie. We love having them come over to St. Augustine when they can. Shiver Me Pictures. Look at that, I got it right. She does some wonderful pictures at events for all pirate events and others. Colonial Music Park. Ladies and gentlemen, they have such a great lineup. And in September and October, every weekend will be a music weekend. And of course, the St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum, my home. so to speak. Many people think I live there. Some people think I even own it. But the St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum and the Croce family and Miss Cindy and John Stavely, they're very good to me and give me a great place to share my love of history. I thank them very much. How about our crew support? W. Mayhem Productions, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, William Mayhem, that would be me, our Powder Monkey, and of course, there are cartoon versions of ourselves, Mr. Henley, Mr. Longwood, Captain Mayhem. Without all of that, we could not do what we're doing. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the charities that we try to support. The treasured charities supported by the Captain's Quarters podcast are St. Augustine Youth Services, Investing in Kids, Inc., the Humane Society, which we're hoping to do a summertime project for them, and of course our Christmas project, Toys for Pits, right there. Wonderful charities to work for. And of course, our Patreon banner. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a Patreon member and support us with just a small, tiny monetary donation on a monthly basis, we ask you to join Patreon and go right there and be a part of it. How many do we have now? We have 6 Patreons. We have 217 subscribers and 4 sponsors. I think we're doing pretty good. Let's see what we can do to increase that by the summertime. Now, if you want to be a guest on our show or you want to be a sponsor of our show, please send us a message. Or you're the captain of a crew who wants to brag about his crew and share the good deeds of your crew, send us a message. Tonight, I tried to send out some messages to a couple of the other pirate crews that we hope to be a part of in sharing information and supporting each other. A few of those crew pages, those Facebook pages, were blocked, and I could not put a message on their page. I don't know if it was me specifically that was blocked or if they just don't allow messages on their page. I understand it. In this day and age, we have to be protective of our pages. But if you send me a message, as I got the other day, and there's my phone going off, we'll have to find out who's calling at the time of that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want us to post on your page so your crew members know about us, we have to have access. And I did get a message from one of the crews saying, why aren't you posting on our page? Well, here's why. I tried, I can't. You'll have to figure it out from your side. We want to be all inclusive to every pirate crew across the country. We want to spotlight all those crews. Any crew at all, we want you to be a part of it. We want you to be a part of what we do. We want to share your message, your community involvement. So send us a message. Let's be a part of helping you be successful. And if you just want to be a guest on the show, have a cause, have an event, whatever it is, we'd love to have you be here as part of our show. What's new in our future, Mr. Longwood? Caught him unaware all of a sudden. Ladies and gentlemen, we have new on the horizon, quite a few things coming up. I normally have the list up too, but guess what? I missed it. Mr. Inquisitor. He's saying, have you seen the Life magazine pirate edition that just came out? I have seen a copy of it. I understand it is available on newsstands all the way through the summer. I make plans to go and do that. And Miss Creamer, we'll have to have a talk with your sister. 8 to 9 o'clock on Monday nights is the wrong time to call. But that's family. So ladies and gentlemen, we've had a good show tonight. Again, I offer my humblest apologies if anybody took offense that I might have been too into the idea of Memorial Day. It is very important to me, especially if somebody is going to play something like taps and it brings a tear to my eye. I will be very into explaining and defending my position on such a thing. Manners, respect. I try to do it as much as I can and I fail. And I don't ask anybody to do anything I don't expect out of myself. So ladies and gentlemen, There are still 3 more hours in the night. If you have someone, a loved one, that is part of a family that has lost somebody to the cause of what we're doing, send them a message. Say thank you. Send them a hug and a love. Did I just see the chicken pop up there, Mr. Longwood?
He's got to make an appearance at least briefly once.
Well, of course he does. And some of you may have heard Mr. Max barking in the background tonight. I believe I heard Mr. Henley's dogs barking. I think they were talking to each other. And hey, what's this crap? We need some food. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't do this without you as our listeners. I mean, we could. It would just be me and Davey and Mason standing here talking away at each other. And as you can see, Mason is such a conversationalist. He won't let anyone get a word in edgewise. But ladies and gentlemen, if there's something you want us to do on this show, please let us know. I love doing the show. I love having the spotlight. I love having the soapbox. The dancing, Captain. You want to see the captain dance?
No. You weren't looking at it. You were fixing your hair during that new intro I put in there.
Yes.
And this little mini Mayhem was dancing with the sign that said "Show's almost showtime."
I must have missed that part. Well, darn. I'll look for it again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good night. I've had some good memories. I've enjoyed sharing. And we hope that you will follow along with us. We do have plans for a possibility of a live podcast on St. George Street by the end of June. We'll see what happens. For any of you that I've missed messages along the way over the last 2 weeks, we've been so busy with the move, and I have no idea where some of my stuff is because we put it in boxes and taken it to the new house. So we're lost. But we'll catch up. Come here, mate. Come on. And for all of you, hey, just say hello. Look up in the screen and say hello. There's Max, my dog, right there. I love and respect all of you. Mr. Adam, I appreciate your sentiment. It's always nice to see you here, along with the other people that I see, Nightingale, Christy, Kara, Donna, Harker, all of you. You make the show what it is. Maybe we'll have us another free-for-all here in a couple of weeks. Next week, the history of the World War II and D-Day. And June 13th, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. I believe we have a guest lined up. I just can't remember what it is. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's time for us to sign off. We've given you 59 minutes and 29 seconds. We have 30 seconds left to go. So with that 30 seconds, I raise my toast to you and say to Mr. Longwood, kick her away.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always for all of you, we can't do it without you. We thank you for your support, your love, and your respect. Cheers to all. Huzzah.